Healing circle!
You're mine!
Ice prison! Hear me! Flame of fury! Not on my watch! Burning
Ignite!
Ice prison! Water! Hear my call! Spread! The sky is mine! Ice prison!
Rising water!
Celestial hammer! Here's a healing arc!
Hurrah!
First aid! Dance in the wind! Air thrust! Purge malevolence! Light up! Magic!
Radiant light.
Freeze lancer! Hurry! You get the death!
Regenerate.
Freeze lancer! Glacier spear! Here's nothing gets by me! Freeze lancer!
Not today!
Far beyond the darkest sky!
Shattering the pieces.
Attack time!
By the power of water!
Swallow blade!
Mega ray! Shooting
Rising
star!
water.
Purge malevolence! Blah blah blah! Magic!
Double
Freeze
demon
lancer! You get the death!
Destruction!
Air thrust! Far
Eternal
beyond the
destination! Demon blade!
Far mega ray!
Tornado drive.
Water! Hear my call!
Elusive deity.
Spread!
Rising water!
Shooting star! Dance in the wind! Air thrust! Blah blah blah! Magic! I never miss! Freeze land! Not on my watch! Blah blah blah! Freeze lancer! You get the death! Freeze lancer! Barb, you get the death! Healing
This
circle!
one's mine!
Barbie! Blah
No
blah blah!
further!
Shooting star! Barb, you get the death! Shooting star! Barb, you get the death!
Forgive me.
Ready and
This is my fault.
Mega ray!
I can carve through armor. Imbue this vanquished soul with light. Resuscitate.
Take this!
Mega ray! I still got
Dragon
the
Swarm!
Annihilation!
Try this!
Feel it!
Explosive ring!
More for the touch! It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire! I'm going to need to use all the power of my healing arts to accomplish this.
Flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Radiant fire! Here! More without
Here I come!
Celestial hammer!
Dragon Swarm!
Ice Gemini
Try
Alpha!
this!
Negative gate.
Lightning!
Explosive ring!
Here, let me
They
help!
smite with blackness. I've used too much.
This should do it!
Execution.
Round and red! I never miss! Freeze lancer! I'm going to need to use all the power of
Now!
my healing arts to accomplish
No
this.
escape!
Proton flash!
Dragon Swarm!
Malevolence!
Explosive ring!
Dance in the wind!
Shockwave!
Shattering the pieces.
Attack time! Lunar corruption!
Double demon fang!
Lunar blast!
Incineration wave! No escape!
Show you what I can do!
You picked the wrong fight!
Water!
Double demon fang!
Radiant blast!
Incineration
In a
wave!
bind.
Dragon
Let me
Swarm!
help! Thunder field! Far enough! Down! Aqua!
Crush!
Down on the ground.
Crush!
Annihilation!
Shockwave flash! Try this!
Too much. Begin. Armand.
Shockwave flash! Try this!
Elusive deity.
This can't be happening!
I couldn't make it in time.
Sword Rain Alpha! Try this!
From beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with light. From beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with light. Ready and resuscitation. I can carve through armor.
What? No! Can't end here!
Bloody howling. No rest for the wicked.
Here's a healing arc!
Negative gate.
First aid! Ice prison!
Stalagmite.
Arc field!
Double demon fang!
By the ice
Demon
prison!
fang!
Celestial!
Where
Where
are
are
you
you
going?
going? Far enough!
Demon fang!
Benedict. Light.
There! One more! Ice prison! Radiant blast! Here!
Demon fang!
Water! Hear my
Ignite!
call!
Resonate with the earth.
Spread! Glacial spear!
Swallow
Here's
blade!
evil!
They
Hit!
smite with their
Swallow turret!
Bullseye!
Take this.
Ice prison!
Lightning thrust!
Armor won't save you. No dawn shall break this night.
Dance in the wind! Air thrust! Purge malevolence! Magic is there! Freeze lancer! Blah blah blah! Freeze lancer! Far beyond the darkest sky! You get the death!
Demon lash.
Shooting star!
Eagle ray.
Freeze lancer! Ice prison!
Don't get carried away.
Won't stop that!
Leave no dawn shall break this night.
end
Just
here!
what the doctor ordered.
This is some punishment.
Thanks. Just what I needed. Ice prison. Thanks so much. Back from death to this. Ice prison. Celestial hammer.
Anything in armor is all mine.
Not done yet!
Finish without a trace.
Save you. No rest for the wicked.
Here's a heal now.
Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone! Breath of life. Heal my wearied companions.
Surrender! Fighting is useless now!
Do you think it's really over?
Astral energy. Watch out! They've got something up their sleeve!
What? It's self-destructed?
Alphen!
I'm okay. Just a little roughed up.
You had me worried there.
Who said you could touch that?
Damn it! He's awake!
I should have thought as much. So you know this place? Naturally. It was built for me, after all. We'll save that for another time. More pressing is how I'm going to tear you apart. Even after all this time, you still insist on hating me? You cut me down. Sovereign or not, you will pay for that.
You're obviously bluffing. You can't even move right now.
Really, is that what you think? Did you really think that such a petty device could hold me?
Are you going to claim it's because you're a ruler? Be it sovereigns or lords. In the end, they're all titles given by someone else.
Plus, what kind of ruler would spend all his time chasing Alf, who happens to be another sovereign?
Idle prattle. I proved my worth and the Sovereign's powers were granted to me.
Were they really? We already know the title of Sovereign doesn't denote royalty. It is but an overblown codename for those with a designated part to play in these proceedings. You mentioned before that you were not the only one stolen from Dana, correct?
Yeah. There were countless. And every one of them besides me died.
All of those failed experiments, and they still kept going back to Dana. There must have been some vital reason their subject had to specifically be a Danan. Then there were the records we found in the library, for you and Volron. They were logged 300 years apart, and yet the data they took from you was exactly the same. Which leads us to a single conclusion.
Then you mean Boron was kidnapped just like Alphen? But then he became a...
A slave from Dana. Just like us. Isn't that right, Volron?
So he posed as a Renin and caused all that suffering to his own people?
How could you? If you knew the pain of being a slave, why would you inflict that upon others?
Renin and Dana are meaningless distinctions. He and everyone else. That is all that matters. I will stand above all others and take what is rightfully mine, starting with this.
A red woman?
Another one?
Give your master back on Rena this message. No one makes a fool of me. Let them know I'll make them suffer.
Don't do it!
Serenus Alma!
It's too late. You can't stay here.
We need to go. Outfit!
Go. But know I will be your shadow no matter where you try to run.
Let's go.
Never forget, I am the one who devours everything. Who answers to neither spirit nor man. My word is law. I am.
Are you two okay?
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Is Volron... have we finally seen the last of him?
We can but hope.
Those red women. What the heck was their deal?
Could they be the ones behind all this? The same ones who put those soldiers in Faria in a trance?
What, those brainless things? Either way, they've done a runner with the Renus Alma. Damn it, that's the second time now!
Whatever's stolen from us, we'll steal it back. The future's ours to protect. And right now those things are what's standing in our way. We can head them off at Rena.
Did you say Rena?
Volron mentioned a master of theirs holed up in the motherland somewhere.
If that monstrous form's their true identity, I shudder to think who they take orders from.
Yeah. There's a good chance it's not human. That's for sure.
So this thing over on Rena, that's what's really behind all this, huh?
They have the Renus Alma in their grasp already, so it's unlikely they'll have cause to return to Dana. I agree that Rena's our best shot.
Then we're agreed. Let's head back to the starship.
But seriously, I was not expecting Volron to actually be here.
He seemed to care not one whit about Renans or Danans.
Yeah, not in a...
I didn't see that coming about Volron. As for those red women, to think they were monsters all along.
Tell me about it. One minute they look perfectly human. Next thing you know, they're not actually human at all.
They definitely weren't Renan or Danon. I'm not even sure language would get through to them.
So what were they then? Human Zoogle hybrid?
Is the most terrifying thing anyone said all day.
How about you, Shion? Dorlu? You ever seen anything like...
No, never. However, if they're the same as the Red Woman we've seen with Volron...
I had just so much I wanted to ask them. About Rena.
Unfortunately, they blew themselves up before we got the chance. Why would they do such a thing, though?
Both sound plausible to my ears. They took off...
Yeah, they did. And the next time we meet them, we're going to make sure they...
Engaging! Try harder! You're mine! You're mine!
I can't kill forever! If you won't bow out next, then you leave me no choice! Magic is there! Here's the healer!
Here I come!
Blah, blah, blah. Freeze Lancer! Spartan Stars, you get the gist!
Leave the ensnaring to me.
An astral art?
That's my cue!
You picked the wrong, shut him down.
Shooting Star! Barbie blah, blah, blah. Shooting Star!
Denied!
Meteor
In a bind?
Do it! Blah, blah, blah.
Blow them away!
Sparkling Starlight!
Anything in armor is all mine! Fire support!
Hear my call! Meteor storm! Purge the level! Magic is down! Freeze Lancer! I never fit! Soar beyond the darkest skies! I call upon thee! Shooting star! Whirling stars of light! Rain blah blah blah! Meteor storm!
I'm ready!
Here goes!
In an instant! Impact block!
Hit! Here's another corruption!
The flame inside me! To be let free! I'm ready!
Domain!
Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis!
I won't be able to heal you for much longer.
Hey, look at that enemy! It's shining! I've got a really bad feeling about this!
To accomplish it.
Prepare to be free! Ready and ready! How about this?
Air thrust! As if the normal magic is there!
I'll see it for you!
Far beyond air!
Can't get out of this!
Prototype field! Shooting! Oh, sparkling stars! Blah, blah, blah!
Burn in hell!
Meteor storm! Barf, you get the gist! Shooting star!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
I'll heal
I'm
you
not
all!
done!
Dance in the wind! Air thrust! Purge the level! Arcane waterfall!
I owe you one for that.
Freeze Lancer! Light that far beyond the darkest sky!
Where are you going?
On thee!
Time to stop.
Shooting star!
I'll take you all on. Ha! Flare the Malika!
Oh, burning stars of light! Rain down and fury vegetation!
Take this! I can carve through armor!
Searing flame! Meteor storm! Photon flash! Blah blah blah! Magic! Healing circle! Freeze Lancer!
I'll take you all on. Ha! Flare the Malika!
Not in your dreams!
Far enough!
Lightning!
Prepare to be
Power
seized!
flame!
Ruin
Healing strike!
flame! Explosive ring!
Hurricane strike!
Chocolate! The flame inside me yearns to be let free! Not today!
Lion Cowl!
Sword Ring Alpha!
Pull
Try
myself
this!
together.
Tiger Blade! By the power of
Blended
water!
Flash! Incineration Ray! Dragon Swarm!
I'll heal you
Try
all.
this.
More for the stockpile!
Dragon Swarm!
More with that
Now you see what I can do!
Military! My turn!
Raise I'll heal you all!
I'm not done! Dragon Swarm!
Light astral energy! Magic is there!
If it's in the sky, it's
Double Demon
mine.
Fang! Here!
Crescent moon! More for the
Sword Rain Alpha!
What my art can do.
Dragon Swarm! Eat this!
Dance in the wind! Air thrust!
I'm not done! Dragon Swarm!
Magic is there!
No further!
More for the stockpile!
Dragon Swarm!
Far enough!
Chocolate!
Hurricane Thunder Field!
Double Demon Fang!
Lightning strike!
Incineration wave!
I'll stop its charge!
Thanks, Kisara. Damn it.
Ready and ready!
Armor won't save you!
Going in. Flame of fury.
Not today! Trackless strike! Infernal turret! Take this! I'm not done! Dragon swarm!
Tiger blade.
Try this!
Lion power.
Explosive ring!
Dance in the wind. First aid. Sleep cloud.
Take this!
More for the stockpile.
Try.
Here goes. Oh, magic is out. Feel.
Infernal turret!
I'll be saving this one.
Trackless strike! Try this!
I need this all day.
Infernal turret!
Into the shadows. Magic is out.
Incineration
Here
wave.
goes.
This one's
Not
mine!
your dream.
Take this!
Take
this.
Rain down.
It's my turn.
I never miss.
I'm not done! The flame
Florida.
inside me yearns to be let free!
Anything in armor is all mine! Go higher!
I'm not done!
Tiger blade!
Dragon special! Sword Rain Alpha! Double Demon Fang!
Air blast. Like that. Blah, blah, blah.
No escape!
Here, let me help.
Take
Only
this.
land. I
I'm
only
not-
won't.
This one, make it rain!
Lost.
Demons descend! Flashing fang!
I feel the power flowing through me.
You'll be able to help even more people now.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I will.
What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone? Doe?
You two.
Faria, Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
She doesn't remember a thing, so she really was being controlled.
He told me about Tarnigan, too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegis is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer, and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegis from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest-ranking person in Lenegis right now?
Lenegis wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord. And the only one left is... Ah. Very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow Renans of Lenegis. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Eldaman and Sia.
Look, up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid, as people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lenegis, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among men. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time being.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say with any certainty, but I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie, built on nothing but falsehoods.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over, I shall return. But not as your sovereign, nor as a leader the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lenegis, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright, or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. Things like... oh, I don't know.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to...
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegis till you get...
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menen's. For the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Eldaman and Sia can look after themselves just fine.
It's the ones here on Lenegis who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menancia's borders that...
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future, though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my heart.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you?
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when we should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena away. Looks like the people of lenegis can...
In one sense, when all is said and done, perhaps I have been a slave.
You, a Renan lord? How do you figure that exactly?
I was complicit in the Renan system, bound by its values, resigned to being swept along. And when I realized the severity of my mistake, a lord. And yet my first instinct was to place my fate in the hands of others.
I think I can relate. I couldn't stand watching my people bow and scrape their way through life. The ability to think for yourself and be your own master. That's what separates a slave from a free person. At least Zephyr taught me how to fight. But in doing so, he also taught...
Even if it means stumbling along the way. If it's on a road of our own choosing, free of regret. Or, to put it another way, so long as his heart is compromised, even the loftiest of kings is no This Zephyr character sounds like he was a wise man indeed. I only wish I could have met...
There's just so much I wish I could ask him, especially now. I wonder...
How long have you known?
Known what?
About the darkness I carry inside me. You seem to have been aware of it for quite some...
Why ask me now? What does it matter? But... yes, I have. I've pretty much known that something was not...
So basically since the very start of our journey, then. Just when I thought I couldn't feel more ashamed.
Leave the past where it belongs. We have no need for it now. You're If my brother could see you, he'd be proud.
Not as proud as he would be of his sister, I'm sure.
Well then, just as well it's not a competition.
Kisara? Anyone at home in there?
Sorry. Did I look distracted?
Among other things. To be entirely honest, I couldn't tell whether you were smiling or frowning.
You were thinking about Dohalim, weren't you?
I was just thinking how good it is to see him moving forward at last. It was always so infuriating, knowing how capable he could be if he just put his mind to it. A prisoner trapped in a cage. But now, he's finally beginning to spread...
So, then why do you look so sad?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say sad. There's a bittersweetness to it, I guess. It's good. It probably sounds weird, doesn't it? I have this massive worry off my mind. I should be
Must be that maternal instinct of yours at work.
Rinwell's right. You're like a mother bird, finally letting go as her child takes his first shaking and...
A pretty big child.
That's one way to look at it. I wouldn't like to see Dohalim's face if... All this has made me realize I can't allow myself to become a prisoner of my own making like he... If Dohalim can forge his own path ahead, then I can too. I won't be left behind.
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
Have you guys checked your equipment lately? I came out great. Everyone's gonna be... After mastering countless recipes and gathering enough ingredients to last, I finally cooked my greatest, grandest Mabo curry! This is a specially made, one-of-a-kind batch. It contains only the best combination...
Your...
Spices.
I think I'll have some later after everyone else.
You sure?
It does smell pretty tasty now that you mention.
The heat from the spices is intense, but not persistent, so it's easy to go back for seconds.
You're making a good case for your curry, Alphen.
To be honest, I'm a little scared how my stomach will handle all these spices later.
Indeed. The spiciness has been so finely tuned. Why, I dare say you...
Right? I
like it. I love it.
Law, really? Don't...
There's plenty for everyone, so eat as much as you like.
Thought we'd find answers on Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix, too.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is.
Yeah. Which is...
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all the answers have to be there. Are we prepared?
So, what do we do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel...
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're...
If we come across a capital, we should... What? Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone! Look there!
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegis is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegis are all right?
We can only pray that they are.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
The Flower of Oblivion.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis. Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
I don't believe this. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here? We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down! You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegis in here.
Do you think we might run into more Renans here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would it—
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
Shion, just in the nick of time. Here, lend me a hand while I...
No!
What the... Oh, right. The thorns. My bad.
No, I'm the one who should apologize.
Again, Law? Can't you even go a minute without putting your...
Seriously, it's fine. I'd rather that than people feeling like they're walking on eggshells around. Besides, I'm the one who should be vigilant about not touching...
Actually, I've been meaning to ask. Not being able to touch people, does it ever get low?
I guess I never really thought about it in those terms. It was either accept it for what it was, or come undone. Before long, it was just part of my everyday reality. I think I even forgot there was another way to live. Which isn't to say I didn't feel alone. I did. Always.
So numb to your reality, you couldn't even recognize it as loneliness? I don't know how you managed.
It's fine. I know I'm not...
But I can't even touch you. No way of lending you a shoulder when you're dead.
I appreciate the concern. Until I get rid of these thorns, I guess I'll have to put up with it just a little longer. But not forever. Alphen, maybe it'll be soon, maybe it won't be. But either way, the day will come. And I'll be ready when...
Yeah, just hang in there. One day, we'll share a big war. Boo!
Ah! What the? Are you out of your mind? This is...
Oh, come on. How am I supposed to resist with you looking all jittery?
It's called experiencing feelings appropriate to the
Yeah, but seeing you act all nervous, you're...
oh.
Staying alert is important, but too much caution can cloud your judgment. Try to strike a balance.
I still can't get over what we saw happening outside the...
Yeah, our planet's really not...
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what...
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also...
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here?
Someone formidable...
That beam of light joining Dana and Rena. It was the Renan side that it first came from, right?
That's what it looked like. And then the Danon side responded.
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld? To reawaken the wedge and...
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after? Is it...
Try to stay calm. With so many factors we don't understand, dwelling... What is it?
No, it's just... Zephyr once told... So much for me making progress, huh?
You made it this far, didn't you? Notice something, you change it. That's all anyone can do. But you can't...
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that? It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk.
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you?
Before I answer, I have a question for you.
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you are—
Oh goody, more riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The Red Women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasol, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The great astral spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it, without question, throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this Great Spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegis. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrect 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's great spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegis are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy, and the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed, and it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrect 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dig Faisal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it.
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, that being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story...
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates...
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let...
Right.
There is one other thing that... How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevrek 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil...
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Let's find out. Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen it.
Are you a Renin?
Oh. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you, but be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrecht 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and...
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Have you guys lived up here in Dig Faisal with Hevrecht?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten...
Why are you all even here in the first...
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on...
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire...
And you've been working for Hevrecht 35?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer...
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renins. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renin won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they... It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids... I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still run. The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate...
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened...
Hevrecht 35 has clearly ceased concealing it.
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little...
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be...
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be... Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can extend... That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before...
Thank you for answering our questions. Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective...
Yes. It was to use lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to...
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renins and Helganquil. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contests began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things...
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevric 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage.
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not—
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helgan—
You mean the Overseer species? I can't say—
Well, for starters, where'd they—
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to very—
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use Astro Arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your— They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they—
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound gross. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big— They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that—
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
And let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we—
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we—
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Ren—
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of Astro—
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much. Why don't we all take some time to think things over before—
That's a good idea. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a real— Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so You sure you don't want to be alone?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and...
I'll go along with you. I'm at...
Sounds good. Let's...
Everyone's just gone.
Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the Red Women... No.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevrek 35...
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could...
But if Hevrek 35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie, does that mean...
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our...
Really? Well then. If we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another...
Make one, huh?
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing...
He who? Oh.
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but...
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renan?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, but if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, that... As for the Renans, I suppose my feeling...
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is in my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still so... to be told that they're like us. That they're actually just...
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the... But at the same time, I realized...
I know you're already aware of this. But the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same...
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the...
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very...
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep in a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people...
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. It won't be achieved through reasoning. But I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now... I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to...
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen,
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Dan and Mage is like my family. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danans again, then Mages won't be such an unusual... I know it's not as simple as all that. Danans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior because of their...
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice, isn't...
Yeah. I know firsthand just how much hatred can... But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change... So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danan and a...
Rinwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to
Now that you mention it, Hevrek 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dan is still our home.
We won't. We'll keep it.
I still can't believe it.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to...
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memory started...
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that...
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen.
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad. That was no way to live. And I've tried to stay... But all this talk about other races and the world ending... If I can be honest with you guys...
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about...
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons. But I never... And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do, or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really...
The thing that's most important. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me. To fight for...
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of...
Yeah. It's like a big weight's been lifted up. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have.
I apologize for making you
You mean hearing the origins?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actual.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned.
That's just part of being alive.
To say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis, or...
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there...
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis, or come down to Dana, huh?
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is... There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to over... And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on...
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that. On that note, I have something of a favor to...
Oh? What?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator, so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only Blazing Sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what...
And I take it that you'll be the one to
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite... However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any blood... Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again. This time just as friends.
You don't even need to ask. Of course.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to...
What about you, Shion? How do you feel about the...
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, right now it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely... I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dave. It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting... She considered me, a Danon, as a real person. And she very much... I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this...
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff, like everyone's... She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people. Even...
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right?
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain, but if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten.
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, I don't care who we're up against.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know...
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to...
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own...
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy. The one type which we know is native only. And if Rena's Great Spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in...
Shion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's Great Spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of...
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire... The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether...
And we only know about the Thorns connection thanks to Naori.
Hevric 35 has been observing the Great Astral Spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort.
So if the Sovereign and Maiden were originally boot-up programs for Lenegis, what about now?
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins and the Renis Alma stolen, Lenegis is functioning fine. If it
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're discarded like you're nothing? Who the hell?
More importantly, who do they think we are? We might not even factor into their list of concerns.
I just hope everyone on Lenegis is safe.
Worst comes to worst, Lenegis is equipped with a large number of starships that people can escape in. As long as the whole satellite...
Wait.
In any case, if we're truly going to make a difference, it's on Rena we're needed, not Lenegis. The people there will be fine.
Right.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Renus Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tool. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Renus Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit, and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die. That we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational. It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Renus Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy. and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renis Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony. Considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed, I cannot allow it.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' great... I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core...
So right in the middle of that giant...
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already in... What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario...
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all...
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Hevrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar, is all. Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake. Remember that.
It matters little to me. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Man, is it too much?
Is the Renis Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit? There has to be another...
Shion's Fire Master Core was able to suppress astral energy to prevent it from gaining sentience. Couldn't we make use of that?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. And with the amount of energy we're talking about here.
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage...
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could use the Master Core...
Hevrek 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So assuming it's even possible...
You're probably right.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life even as I dream of retirement. I shall remain dedicated.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans, not as... Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hate... But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have... But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can...
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get...
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one...
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that... Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come. Doe.
Did you just... Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all the...
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that... Don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know... But I do like...
Yeah.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, so I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize?
I was being real stupid before. About whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was... So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have... Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible...
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it, but I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed and it was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger...
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's an...
Remember what I said about neither planet's Great Spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Heverick 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me. To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will, I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were thinking?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
You sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially no—
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many—
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing— I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to—
Yeah?
If we can't find the Renis Alma, there's something I want you to— Like Heverick 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma back, you'll use the Blazing Sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
It's true the Blazing Sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything
Listen,
that we've—
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Danans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't— I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth. But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore...
We're fighting for a new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last...
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything...
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can...
I can see any...
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrek 35 a break. It has been stuck in this time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp...
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What...
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go in.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot.
We gotta go all the way down just...
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have...
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain...
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about...
Well, come on, Doe.
Hold up.
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last...
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events... Why have you two continued to persist?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something in a... All right, time to get back on the Fall Knights.
It would appear that our Helganquil host really has fulfilled its end.
You know what that means. Time to go to Rena.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive a spin.
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by just stretches out everywhere.
I don't sense even a trace of astral, and this world is dead.
Then this must be the hollowing.
You mean to tell me this whole world, the entire ocean is that stuff?
And it's covering everything.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy...
So arresting. This world of doom.
Back in its day, Rena was probably just as vibrant as Dana is. But after being robbed of its astral energy for so long, those days are gone and past. This is all that will remain.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from living beings, but the land, the sea.
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude, until their whole world was nothing but this. And
with nothing left here to consume, the Great Spirit turned its sights on Dana, looking for a...
You're saying if we don't stop it, this is what Dana's going to look like?
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renan life will not be spared.
If the oblivion and darkness both Shion and Naori saw comes to pass, now it looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
So this is Rena.
A hollowed ocean as far as the eye can see. What do you think?
What do you mean, what would happen?
Come to think of it, I don't believe I've heard of someone ever trying. Perhaps you'd like to...
Nah, I'll pass.
This is essentially a world-sized Renan graveyard. Are you proposing to disturb the dead slumber just to...
No, because I said I passed!
Taking an interest is understandable, but let's not forget where we are.
Looks like we're not going to be hearing the end of the...
You'd think I was already snorkeling in it or something. So the idea is to seal the Great Spirit inside the Renis Alma using the Sovereign and Maiden's power. But just how do we do that exactly?
I'm guessing it won't be as easy as holding a spirit channeling ceremony at our leisure.
I already had wielded astral energy once 3 centuries ago. As for suppressing her thorns, Shion's had a... The problem isn't just our enemy's strength. It's that it's sentient, too. And you can bet anything you like.
In other words, we need to find some way to weaken it.
Back when Shion's thorns flew out of control, we were able to deal with them directly. If this is their host, they should be...
If that's the case, it should make them easier to attack at least. And if we can manage to divert enough energy away from the spirits...
We might just be able to weaken it enough to steal the Renis Alma, which we can then use to seal it away forever. It won't be easy, but it's our only shot. Question for you. Let's say, knock on wood, everything turns out...
What'll the world be like? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of this, do you really think everything will be that...
A lot will have to change, that's for sure. The world will have to adjust to so much. My only worry is if those...
What do you mean?
It's well and good putting an end to Renan rule. But if it just turns the tables, it's all for naught.
That's true. Just as bad if the Danans started pressing...
Renans, Danans, astral art users, mages... The world is full of labels.
If only we could see differences like that for what they are. No different to someone having a musical talent or being good with their hands. Not differences so much as character.
It will take someone in power to set an example. But with time, people will follow.
There will no longer be any need for the example. It will have become second nature.
That's where we come in. We can set the example. Imagine it. A world where magic and astral arts are used to help people. Where...
Yeah, you're right, Rinwell. Why wait for somebody else?
I wonder what Helganquil civilization was like at its zenith.
I can imagine that'd be something you'd take an interest in.
There's no question it must have been advanced, like none either world has ever seen. We could surely stand to learn.
I get that you're itching to delve into its history, but we've got bigger fish to fry right...
Put a pin in it, and you can do all the research you want when you retire.
I can think of worse things than a retirement dedicated to research. As for whether Rena is amenable to an aging specimen...
It's a little early to be giving it serious thought just yet.
A man can dream, though. A man can...
Oh, we didn't say there's anything wrong with dreaming.
In your case, Dohalim, dreams have a habit of spiraling into something...
You'll need to stay with us for now, though. You're too helpful to let retire.
Why do I feel this is less of a compliment and more of an ultimatum?
Just a friendly suggestion.
Whew. I don't sense any more enemies.
Hey! Hey, I just realized...
Is this about dinner last night? I didn't realize those ingredients were off.
What? No, I mean...
Rinwell, the point.
Oh, yeah, right. So I was thinking about those armored soldiers we've...
Yeah, they're designed to make whoever's wearing them stronger.
Right. So it kind of begs the question...
I don't know, makes them more intimidating, I guess? Or maybe all that tech wizardry inside takes up a lot of
You don't think it's weird how the armored soldiers are the exact same height as the Helganquill?
Can't say I'd ever noticed it.
Connect the
Okay, let me get this straight. You think the armored suits might have originally been designed...
Huh. But if that's true...
It would mean... just that, I guess.
Not... hugely? Hey, Kisara, well, I've got you. What's on to...
Get him, Hootle.
What did I do?
Oh, now you want to listen. Keep pecking, Hootle!
Ow, ow, ow! Seriously! You know, guys, when you think about it, we've taken out a lot of zoo...
You can say that again. If one thing's for certain in this world, it's that wherever we go...
Isn't it weird that they're still so plentiful? You don't think the Renans have, like, a ran...
Certainly in all of my years, I've never heard of them constructing such a massive facility on Dana.
The only thing I can think of, then, is that the feral ones must be
There's also no organized effort on our part to hunt them down, so it's difficult to fully
Exterminate them? Whoa.
What do you mean?
Zeugles originally used to be living creatures native to Dana and Rena, right? Being genetically modified isn't the...
You're right. Zeugles were only created because of us Renans. We altered the original creatures.
First people made Zeugles, and then we let them go. And now we're trying to kill...
I hope we find a way to be able to...
It's a nice thought, but they attack towns and cities. What else?
Aside from the strays that have gone wild, it's worth remembering that Renans are able to keep them some...
If we had distinct territories that didn't overlap, that might reduce the danger they...
Well, I guess when you look at it that way, maybe people and Zeugles...
I think there's someone in trouble here.
Well, let's see what they have to say.
Looks like we get to sleep with a roof over our heads.
Yes.
Excuse me!
Hey!
Really now?
What?
I see. Agreed.
Very nice.
Dohalim? The line of researchers is getting longer.
Perhaps I should have put more thought into this before accepting. That was quite the little adventure we went on.
I never realized before just how hot...
You're only just noticing? Ah, yes, forgive me. The whole lack of sensory feedback.
That's the one. It's hard to believe I once worked in this soup, let alone...
And all with the mask concealing your face. It must have...
Back then, we had our plates full enough dealing with constant abuse from our Ren. It never occurred to me the air itself was oppressive in its own way. My head's spinning just...
I think that's called heat stroke. You might want to take it...
You mean that water that's been festering under the sun for days? I would...
Oh, I know! I'll go to the dock and fetch us some clean water.
Water alone won't suffice. You'll need to ensure his sodium level...
In that case, let's see if we can rustle up some rock salt. Alphen, you go cool off in the shade for a while. Xion...
And then there were two.
Bit of an overreaction, but it's...
Maybe it's not the time, but this place brings back...
I know what you mean. We're back...
You don't ever regret meeting...
Are you kidding? You started all of this. Bringing down the wall, retrieving my... Hey.
Yes.
Just great.
How's this?
Got it.
Hey!
Yay!
All right.
Hey, she's pretty cute.
Who are you looking at? Quit gawking and let's go.
Ow!
Hey.
Hey! Yes!
Right.
Sure.
I don't believe this! Ah! Okay!
Great! Good.
Nice work. Ah!
But this is...
Wow.
This is... Yes!
Oh!
Amazing!
Nice work. Very nice.
Thanks.
Yes!
We finally made it.
Hey.
Yes. Oh.
Yay! What? Yeah!
Yes.
Yeah!
We avoided getting roasted in that ring. But what we could really use... to something to cap this off.
Sure. Got any ideas on what would be good?
Mabo curry. Fried bread stuffed with curry.
You'd probably buy out the whole stock.
I feel like somebody's watching us.
Yeah! Hey. Yeah! Just great.
I guess... Thanks.
Huh? Well... All right. All right. I guess. Whew. Got it.
Looks like we made it here in one piece.
Judging by the stench, I'd say the animals at the ranch are all grown now.
You can never be too prepared. But did we have to spend so much?
Is this the barrier that's keeping the Zoogle in that Nath mentioned?
Looks like it. Our Zoogle pal should be on the other side.
This barrier is weird. It looks old and half-finished. Plus, he said it was okay to break.
I mean, we won't need it anymore once the Zoogle's gone, right? So what does it matter? Did they really think that... barrier was enough for a Zoogle like that?
It was. That thing was sturdier than you give it credit for.
Really? So that's the Zoogle, huh? This should be a piece of cake.
Don't get careless, Law.
Think we could take that one?
Well, if you're up for being the decoy...
I've got a really bad feeling about this.
Peter!
If it hides, just stretch it out again. Ice prison! Into the center!
For the weak point!
Double Demon Fang!
Mega Ray!
You made me angry. That was a bad idea.
No armor can stop me!
Remind me to stay on the good side.
Freeze, Lancer! Light ash! Oh, sparkling stars of what
Take
will
this!
from death.
I'll smash you!
Resuscitate meteor! Artistry coming through! First aid! Switch to awesome! Meteor! You get the gist. Lightning strike! Shooting star! Not on my watch! I'll heal blah, blah, blah. Meteor storm!
Stay away from my friend!
I'll bring you back from death.
Why'd you kill me?
To stop you dying?
Right.
Here I come!
Show me what my art can do! Crazy
Try harder! Now!
Anything in order is all mine! Air thrust!
Try this!
My head's spinning just watching you.
Holy Land!
Switch to
I'll heal you all!
flaming meteor.
The enemy wields arc too.
You'll soon see about that!
Far enough.
Explosive ring!
Now we're not. Flaming
No
meteor.
further!
There you go! Don't let up!
Burn in hell!
Think you can fly?
Dragon form!
Meteor storm!
Try this!
Pound in the water! Annihilation!
Explosive ring!
Now see what I can do!
Take this!
Here I come! Here's a
It's
winner!
over!
All right.
Here I
Just like that, I'm back in it. Start by holding the front line. No sooner said than done. Hurricane delight! Let's keep up the pressure!
Double demon fang! No escape!
Rise and shine!
I let my guard down.
You'll pay for that! No escape!
Sleep now!
You may be strong, but I'll never back down!
Raging cat!
Guess I had to use it sometime.
Dance in the wind! Here, shine!
No escape! This one's all
This will
mine!
come in handy.
Eat dirt!
Resurrection! Just
Shattering
like
the pieces!
That's where I came from!
Take this!
Annihilation!
Dragon
Fire!
form!
Head downfall! Blah, 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 action!
Explosive ring!
Flame! You get the gist. Reload!
You're mine!
Sleep now.
Lightning strike!
I'm out of ammo!
Double demon fang!
Lunar
It's over!
Light after
You're mine!
Alright! It's
Dragon
your
form!
turn!
Their arcs were interrupted.
Confiscated!
You're finished!
Just what the doctor ordered! Got it!
Try this!
No more plague! Now's our chance! Radiant fire! Power of flame!
Igneous,
Finish
denied.
without a trace! Purge malevolence!
This time!
Going in.
Big waterfall!
You picked the wrong fight!
Inferno Crusher!
Shattering
Dance in
the
wind!
pieces!
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire! This one's lost! Where are you going?
I can
Purge
carve
malevolence!
through armor!
On big water!
I'm not done! Dragon form!
Dance in the wind! Air thrust!
Explosive ring!
I'm going to need
Take it!
You have to
I'm
hold
not
on.
done!
Do you require a hand?
No further! Double demon fang!
Down! Your arc!
You're finished!
Beast assault!
Try harder! My turn!
Rocky!
lightning into the shadows! Mega ray! Dance in the wind! Air thrust! Purge malevolence! I'm sorry.
That was quite the little adventure we went on.
Guess I misread the landing.
Hey, Law. Been
Yeah, I guess I got a little carried away. You think this is...
Yeah, a word of advice. You might want to refrain from mentioning that stuff.
Man, can you imagine Rinwell's face?
I meant in general, but you sure mention her a lot, you know.
Huh? Oh, you know, she's always there, even when you least expect it.
Either that, or maybe some part of you has subconsciously always wished...
May the trials and tribulations of young romance never change.
Romance? Like I'd be interested in that know-it-all tomboy. I'm more about mature women.
You know, I used to be a tomboy too when I was Rinwell's age.
Look, it's not tomboys I have anything against, but come on.
Hey, I miss anything? What's all the fuss about?
Rinwell.
Thunderblade!
Ah! What the hell was that for?
A little birdie told me you were speaking about me behind my back.
From the looks of it, I'd say you've got yourself a...
It wouldn't be called the Spring of Youth without a little storm every now and then.
Hey, Shion. How are you and Alphen getting on these days?
That's a little out of the blue. Why do you ask?
Sorry, it's just... I don't know. I'm just curious, I guess.
I suppose you're right. Well, to tell you the truth, But then, if we hadn't met like we did, then I never would have experienced...
I can imagine. I know it's not the same thing, but...
Because of Miguel.
Alphen's still alive. It's not too late yet. And after all, who can say what the future holds? I think if I were you...
Besides, touch isn't everything. I've never touched you, Shion.
That's true. But I do remember back when we first met, you made it plenty...
But that was a long time ago. There were lots of things I didn't understand back then.
Don't worry, I'm only teasing. I know what you mean. And you're right. There are ways to convey your feelings besides...
I'll say, cooking immediately. And if it's someone's favorite dish, all the better. If there's something on your mind...
You might just have a point.
Uh-oh. If it's Alphen's palate you're appealing to, that doesn't bode well.
Well, friendship is about being supportive.
Even after staying here, we never truly got to the bottom of what makes this realm's citizens.
Renan and Danon are meaningless distinctions here. To have one's own mind is strictly forbidden. All that matters...
That might be the case now, but it can't always have been like that.
Once, maybe. Question is that something?
If it's not, we'll just have to make something new. No, not we. They've had enough foisted on them as it is.
You're right. It's time the people here had the chance to forge their own path.
These things take time. What the? An ambush?
Sorry. There was a huge flying bug and I sort of...
A bug? You mean like a...
Something tells me she would have shot it, whether it was a Zoogle or not.
This realm is teeming with humid forests. It's only natural insects would feel more at home here than men in... In fact, I seem to recall reading somewhere that bugs around these parts lay their eggs in human food to ensure healthy incubation.
Sounds like they're tougher than they...
What about you, Al?
I wouldn't say I was their #1 fan. Mine...
Insects as a culinary option, you say? What kind of seasoning?
Dohalim, I don't...
Hey, a lizard!
Is the blazing sword okay?
A little water's not going to hurt it.
It's huge. I bet it'd be a good way to test my strength.
Don't get carried away, Law. Hi, Hoodle! By the power of flame! Dance in the wind! It's a duel of the arts! Glacial spear! Pierce evil! Now's our chance!
You picked the wrong fight!
Freeze Lancer! Purge most radiant pierce! Freeze Lancer! Far beyond the darkest sky!
Carve through water! Prepare to be sealed!
Annihilation! Prepare me! Flame of fury!
The enemy wields arts too.
You'll soon see about that! Here's evil! It's weakened!
This ends now!
Darkest sky! Hold on!
It's pinned down!
What would I do without you? Shooting star! Don't mind if I do! Blah, blah, blah!
Burn in hell!
How about this? Freeze Lancer! Blah, blah, blah! Freeze Lancer! Standing far beyond the dark blah, blah, blah!
Eternal devastation!
Shooting star! Here goes! Go get him!
It's go time!
Now, while it's freely!
Take it down! Freeze Lancer! Far beyond the darkest sky!
They're all interrupt dare! You're all...
Take that!
Here I come!
That's evil!
Mirage!
This one is mine! Rise and shine! Let the marksman handle this! That'll bring you down!
He's got him on the run!
Whoa, don't get cocky!
Right.
In a bind?
Still anyone's fight.
Not in your dreams!
My head's spinning! What?
Show you what my heart can do! Rise and shine!
Piercing roar!
Blood soul! Resurrection!
Let loose! Anything in armor is all mine!
Severing will!
Go! Now's our chance!
How do you like being pounded into shape?
Swallow blade!
Inferno crossing! I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare the Malisa!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
There you go, Alphen!
It's time to end this battle!
I'm right beside you!
Quite necessary when creating weaponry.
We've reached our destination.
I never thought about this until now, Alphen. But doesn't it get hot wearing that armor all the time?
Admittedly, yeah, it can get...
Is it hard when your back starts to itch?
Oh, you bet. Plus, my shoulders get stiff wearing it. Even if...
Kisara looks like she manages all right with her armor.
Armor takes a strong body and a
Spoken like a true guardsman. Not that I really get what you mean.
The more I think about it, the more I realize what a pain it must be. Like, what do you...
Ew!
That part can be a bit of a pain, yeah.
That sucks, man. Wouldn't it be easier...
You never know when the enemy might attack. As tempting as it might be to take it off, it's not worth getting...
So basically, you're screwed if you ever get attacked while taking a dump. Right, Rinwell?
Are you doing this on purpose? Yeah. Seriously?
Hey!
I sense a poor soul who is in dire need.
Right.
Sax Leo. Temple. Isn't that where Shion was being held?
Shh. Wasn't it beautiful? I can't wait for this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Just great.
Cheers!
Cheers! What? Nice try, you two. Better luck next time.
Never.
Wait. Something...
I couldn't catch it. Alone?
Oh no. This is just like what...
I'm alone.
What can I do to get her to snap out of it? There aren't any I've got it!
Alvin?
Shion, you're not alone. You've got all of us. And it wasn't just one bouquet either. There's also this one from me. So please, don't go fight this together. Shion!
You dummy! That's not what I was upset about. How many times do I need to tell you not to That said, it does make me feel better. Even if your bouquet is just a weapon named after one.
I'm just glad I could help. And I made another one to go with it, so it wouldn't be lonely either.
You never cease to amaze me, Alphen.
Feeling better now, Shion?
I'm sorry I lost my cool like that.
Don't worry. It's not like I have any room for criticism.
Being a grown-up isn't easy, is it?
Looks like we get to sleep with a roof over our heads.
Oh?
Right.
Okay, off we go.
That Zoogel's in our way.
I'll do my best. Hurricane!
Between heaven and earth.
Their arts were interrupted.
ST Airborne scoundrels.
Sounds like a job for yours truly. Air thrust. Hard collision. Magic is in. I owe you, Keon.
Healing is what my arts do best.
All mine can do is cause havoc and destruction. Healing danger. Don't mind if I do. Ready up. Far beyond the darkest skies. I call upon the healing art. First aid.
Down! You're
Pull myself together. Dance in the wind! Air thrust! Purge malevolence! Wild up, loud magic!
Now! Really!
Take it down! The darkest sky! I call upon the meteor! You get the gist. Air!
Eater!
Star! You get the gist. Shooting star! Blah, blah, blah. Shooting star! Blah, blah, blah. Meteor storm!
Rising Phoenix!
Here goes! By the power of flame! Here's another!
Take this! Armor won't save you! Look out!
Divine focus! Not in your dreams! Oh, Sparrow Arts require complete
Rising Wyvern!
Here's the evil! Take that! Freeze!
Rising Wyvern!
I'm ready! Do it! Ice Prison! I never miss!
Light up the dark! I'm ready to go! Rising Wyvern! Soaring Light Spear!
Dance in the wind!
Eater!
Hurricane Arrow!
The earth throbs in pain.
Freeze Lancer! A chain between heavens!
In a vine, it's pinned down.
Hurricane Strike!
Feast the thought! Sonic
Divine
Thrust!
Sail!
Ready and ready! Alpha! Armor won't save you!
Here's a Hurricane Strike! Radiant Storm! Far beyond the night!
Rising Wyvern!
One more! Arc Seal!
Here, let me help.
We got him on the run.
Don't get cocky!
Right. Still anyone's fight.
Ice Prison!
Spear! The flame inside me yearns to be let free.
I'm... sorry.
Hurricane!
Stay away from my friend! Okay, here I go.
Why'd you heal me?
To stop you dying?
Glacial Strike! Lightning
Nothing
Thrust!
gets by me.
Rising Phoenix!
Far enough. Inferno crossing.
Look shot! Okay, here I go. I'll smash you!
Now or never.
Finish it!
Yodeling.
All yours, Kisara.
We're still standing. Barely. Looks like we made it here in one piece.
Hey, she's pretty cute.
Who were you looking at? Yeah.
How?
Huh? Well... Hey!
Looks like we get to sleep with a roof over our heads. We've reached our destination.
Looks like we've warped into that pit of astral energy.
Helganquil!
Guess they don't need their Red Woman disguises anymore.
Wait, can you understand us?
It's no use. We're not going to get through to them.
So they really are being controlled. In that case, we've got no choice.
I knew there was something off here.